Back in the podcast zone, now chatting with Larissa Walega from Ziebart. What's going on?
Hi, Jack. I'm so excited to be here. This is actually my first time at IFE. Shocking for most.
You said that before, and I can't believe it feels like I've seen you here before, but I guess it's been every other franchising event.
Every other but here. So this is amazing. What a great place to see all the opportunities in franchising.
Yeah, it's really been pretty much a spectacular show so far, and we're only 2 hours in. But I got to tell you, before we get into anything else, the character, who I believe his name is Bart.
Bart, we're very original.
If anyone has not seen this yet, there's literally a knight in shining armor walking around the Javits Center, and that would be Bart from Ziebart. So tell me a little bit about who Bart is and how did that happen?
Yeah, so we've been undergoing a brand transformation for several years now. We know that, when you think about automotive and you look at our name, right, Ziebart, what could that be? It doesn't just shout out at you, right, like some other automotive brands. Yeah. So we knew that. So we've been doing a lot of work to introduce a tagline, which is your vehicle's best defense. So weird how we've had this logo for 65 years, 65th anniversary this year, and this logo has always had this knight who's almost been kind of just sitting there, but we've never done anything with him. So as we're reintroducing our brand, telling our story, making this connection to our foundation of protection, it made total sense. Super excited. We're launching our first national branding campaign in 20 plus years this year.
That's great.
So he'll be a part of that.
Nice. Well, I love the character, and I love the idea of even having a character and making it just a little bit more personal, right? And spot on with all of those things. So nice job on that. And you've definitely created a little bit of a stir with having Bart here at the IFE today.
We love it.
So you just hit 65 years, is that right?
I don't look a day past 21, but yes, the brand is 65 years old.
That's fantastic. Especially in this day and age, I would have a hard time naming any other brands that have been franchising.
You would, because there's only 49 other brands in franchising who can say that.
Wow.
So I could understand how that would be difficult for you.
And I think on the other side of the fence, we see so many cool new brands here at the IFE this year, and let's face it, some of them won't make it, but I look at some of these and I think, what if they're the next Ziebart? Right?
I know.
What if they're here 65 years from now? I don't know that you and I will be attending the show in 65 years.
I mean, but wouldn't that be amazing?
That's our goal. That's our goal right now. But I think it's brands like Ziebart that smaller brands are looking at right now and saying, how do we get to where Ziebart is? Whether it's in size or revenue or whatever their goal is, how do we become the next Ziebart? So I love seeing an older brand doing innovative new stuff, almost like you're a young brand.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point, because we started this brand transformation, right, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and everybody asks, what do you think? Why is the reason that Ziebart has been around for 65 years? And I will say that between the services that we provide, between the way we provide those services, all those things, right? It does boil down to constant innovation. And our former CEO, Tom Ewolf, always had this mentality of change or die. And he did that through several different avenues, whether it was partnerships with Rhino Linings, or in the past we were heavy into accessories, and just always thinking about what the next step would be. There's really no franchise brand out there that does everything that we do. And so as one of our core values, innovation is definitely at the heart, and I believe why we've been around for 65 years.
Great story, and I love the way that you're telling it. When it comes to franchising and being a leader in franchising, one of the things I'm asking everybody here this week at IFE is, tell me about franchise thought leadership. Who are the leaders that inspire you, and who do you follow? Who do you personally follow?
I always look at franchising as this amazing melting pot of people. We talk all the time about, franchisors and franchisees and supplier partners too. So I've been thinking about this a lot, and I have one for each.
Okay.
On the franchisor side, for some obvious reasons too, but she is a mentor. I follow Robin Gagnon quite a bit.
Sure.
I think what she's done with We Sell Restaurants, talk about a concept that nobody else thought of, and wow, such a need to have to be able to not only train someone on how to sell franchises, but then also, give this great investment opportunity. I've seen her AUV, all those other things, and I just think knowing her background and her developing and creating this concept with her husband is just, I love watching that. I just love what she's doing, and I think she's one of the smartest people I know.
Yeah, and I'll throw this in too. The work she's done with the IFA Women's Franchise Committee, which is now part of your world too.
Yes.
And I understand that that's not a really high-paying job.
No.
Right?
No,
I thought you guys were each getting paid like $1 million a year or something like that.
$1 million, right? Like Dr. Evil.
But
no.
the idea of what Robin has done and now what
Elevating
you're doing
it.
and elevating everybody on, not just on that committee, but everybody in franchising for what is basically a volunteer job. That's true leadership.
That's a labor of love for sure, and it's a passion. We want to see, women as they grow in franchising get the skills, get the education, get the networking that they need to make a difference, just like we all like to do every day. So Robin's one. Really quickly, turning to the franchisee side, I had a chance to meet a franchise owner by the name of Anthony Toomey. And Anthony Toomey is a multi-brand franchise owner who owns like a gajillion Jimmy John's now. He owns the entire state of Michigan for the Big Chicken concept. And then he also owns 8 Mile Vodka, a vodka brand that has won numerous awards. And he also owns the Born in Detroit brand as well, an apparel line that Ziebart has partnered with. So, what I just told you, like this guy and he was a former Detroit Tiger.
Oh, wow.
Former pro. So, he is just nonstop, and I love watching what he's doing. I think I'm excited to bring him into the IFA world because I think he's got a lot to share.
Yeah.
And then quickly on the other side, too, from the supplier standpoint and partners, Zach Fishman is the most interesting storyteller. I think one of the most interesting storytellers I've ever met. I feel like he's very real about who he is, how he's been brought up in this space. He's not going to apologize for it, but he utilizes it as a way to tell a story. And I just find it very interesting, and I like what he's doing too. So
yeah, I love everything he's doing, and well, I guess I would call it, he's like an old soul.
Yeah, yes,
right?
yes.
I have to remind myself that he's not 65 years old.
No, and I think you've always talked about, right, like you are a connection maker, right?
Yeah,
and I think that he's seen that in people like you, in other people who are so passionate about this industry, and he's really owning it. I'm excited for him.
Yeah, I am too. He's going to keep us on our toes for a lot of years to come.
That's right. That's right.
So cool. Well, and I love that idea too when we're talking about thought leadership of not just looking back but looking forward. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the most important thing that a lot of people forget who are in leadership positions is it doesn't matter what you did last year.
No.
It doesn't matter what you were doing 10 years ago. It matters what's happening next year and the year after that.
Yes.
And things like the WFC,
yep.
So critical for everyone's
constant
progress.
Learning. If you're not constant learning, I'm not sure you should be a leader.
Yeah, very, very well said.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Larissa, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of the show, and tell Bart I said hello.
Will do. Thanks, Jack.